Here's the OG single needle ink experiment. I only had a couple hours to do this, and I kind of just freehanded this on and rushed through it, but I still got a lot of good data comparing the stuff to each other. So here's the original footage. So I freehanded this grid, and each row is going to have 6 single needle lines. All right, and then each row is going to have 7 parallel single needle lines. And then we're going to try fine line coil, a shader coil, Shea and Hawk Thunder, and FK Irons Flux Mini. And then we're also going to try 2 cartridges, a Vertex 0.30 single needle, long taper, and then the new Tatzel Enso metal tipped 0.30 single needle. For the inks to compare, we're going to use Kurosumi Saint Gray Wash, Pantera Triple X Tribal Black, Eternal Pitch Black Classic Lining, Allegory Ultra Black, World Famous Legendary Outlining Black, World Famous Pitch Black, and World Famous Blackout. And then here's the 2 cartridges we're comparing. The Vertex RLT 0.3, the Vertex 1RLT 0.30 millimeter, and the Tatzel NV Enso 1.30 millimeter. So this project was not ideal. This was just a sort of first run at it, and it was just hopes that this was the beginning of something else, that we could inspire others to crowdsource ink data, that this could sort of lay the foundation work for future projects. Because ideally what we wanted to do was to get several different skin types, get a professional fine line artist in, devote like an entire day to this project, take really good high quality photos, follow up photos, and actually create a tangible resource that was like shared publicly with the whole industry, so that we had a sort of example of what to expect, what inks look like in what different skin types, with different needles, with different machines, so you could better communicate with clients, and what artists knew what to expect. Now, we know 90% of it is technique, of course. What we're interested in is that other 10% of what control you have and what the ink composition, how it affects the way the tattoo heals and looks. And we just want to know every part about it, and we're really interested in that because it does matter. It does change things. It's significant. 10% isn't nothing. So this was sort of just the beginning of that. I did this in like a 3-hour time window, rushed. I had to, the airport, I had to like fly out to Chicago the next morning, you know? This was just like sort of something I wanted to do, and something I sort of just slapped together last minute. And it's just the beginning of something, you know? Post, not perfect is what we say. It's better to do the thing than to never do it because it isn't perfect. Okay, so this is the FK Irons Flux Mini. It's a 2.4 millimeter stroke. As you can see, the needle, it just does not go up and down very far at all, like just that little bit. So because of that, you can't hang your needle out real far because no ink will flow off of it. So I kind of just hang my needle out a little bit, and we do the ride the tube method with this guy. This machine is incredible for packing and shading. Absolutely amazing. For lining, it's not really built for that, you know, but we can do it. You can do any tattoo with any machine. It just takes some skill. But look how crazy fast it is. It just goes, you know. You can see how hard it is to pick up your lines with this. It's just really hard to pick up your line and see what you're doing and stuff, you know what I mean? I use this machine specifically for packing, you know. Or doing big, smooth blends and shades, you know. You can just see what a crazy learning curve it is with the 2.4 millimeter stroke. It's just way different to use. I'm starting to get the hang of it now for lining, but man, it's just crazy. All right, now we're going to try out the Flux Mini with these Tatzel Enso needles. I've actually used these already, and I really like them. They just have a really high cartridge tension, though, so you just got to be careful, because they're going to, like, leave a pretty dark line, you know? Like, way more painful. So one thing I can say about this, higher tension cartridge is like, it feels a lot more sure going into the skin. Like I just feel like a lot more confident. Like you could feel like it's just laying a good, solid, clean line. Like look at that. It's so much crispier. So, and that makes sense because of the higher tension, that means it's like got less play in it. You know what I'm saying? Essentially. So I'm not too surprised about that then. Makes sense. So higher tension is good. It's going to give me cleaner lines. It's more destructive. You just gotta be careful if you're like packing or whatever. But so far, really liking it. All right, last up, we have my favorite machine for fine line, the Cheyenne Hawk Thunder. I love this machine so much because I got the skinny grip on it. So as a lot of you know, I broke my hand. I've had 3 surgeries. I'm in really bad pain all the time, and I'm handicapped now. I can't bend it more than that. And I don't have much dexterity anymore. I just kind of flap my finger. So being able to let this rest on my back of my hand is huge. So I can just let all the weight hold it, and I just wiggle my fingers, you know? And it's so precision. And you could just feel it hum. It runs so smooth. Even compared to the Cheyenne Soul Nova Unlimited, the wireless machine, this runs so much smoother than any of their wirelesses. It's an incredible machine. Huge fan if you can't tell. Incredibly precision, this machine. It's just magnificent for fine line. I'm just like, this is my single needle setup, this guy. And I got the Cheyenne brand, you know, foot switch down there and the power supply. So it's all like custom, super lightweight. Or all like, you know, Cheyenne brand. Made in Germany, like factory direct. It's not coming from China, probably, maybe. I mean, parts of it I'm sure are, but it's just really good equipment. I'm a big Cheyenne Hawk Thunder fan. Like I said, I don't like their wireless machines that much, honestly. So it's not like everything they make is gold, but you know what I'm saying? Like this particular product is amazing. And just a reminder, we're using a single needle Vertex 0.30, single needle long taper, Vertex brand. 0.30 millimeter. My voltage is too high. It's like an 8 something. It needs to be a 7. As you can see, all of my drawing is gone, so we're just gonna free machine this single needle line right now. LOL. A little unhinged, but hey, what are you gonna do, you know? Normally when I free machine, I like sketch it in first, but I might just go for it because I'm tired and I'm ready to go home. This was going to be the last row, but I decided to add one more identical setup except whip shading so we can see the difference ink spreads with saturation level, all right? Also, not saturating as good with the needle hanging far out. I think that's because of the shape of the tube, the shape of the cartridge. I just think it like the way the ink flows. I'm just like, wow, these ones don't really hold gray wash as good and aren't really doing good with the hang the needle out method. Whip shading is when I just brush the needle and pepper in a bunch of dots. It's basically like pointillism. I like it because it's like scribbling. Also, dyslexia prevails again. This is also like sort of like what microrealism is. You kind of like are building values with whip shading, but it's more complicated than that. But basically, we want to see how the ink spreads and compares with whip shading versus regular lining. All right, and then we're going to add one more over here. That's a whip shading line so we can compare saturation values. So here we go. When you like move, you don't want your like one dot to be darker than the rest. You want them all to be the same amount of darkness. That's the key to whip shading, is equal value. And it's people are like just kind of scribble or whatever, but that's where like the whip shading looks bad. It's actually incredibly precision, and it's even more precision than lining, so you can't treat it lightly. You need to think about whip shading like it's more precise than lining. One thing I am noticing about these is that you have to really hold the tip under the ink for a long time to suck it all up. It will hold a lot of ink. It just takes a while for it to pull it into the cartridge. Because I thought it wasn't flowing good at first, but I think you just have to... I just had to be a little more patient with how long it takes to go up inside the tip. Yeah, so unfortunately I am starting to have problems with these now. It's really just, the ink is just not wanting to flow. I even took the cartridge out and like wiped it off, the needle off really good, but still can't get it to go. Look at that, the ink just will not flow out of this thing right. It was doing good and then it fell off, but I know it's okay if they like start not flowing right, but like it was too fast. I need them to last longer than that. I can't use like 5 of these during one tattoo, especially when they're like $3 each. It's the shape of the tube. The opening is, the mouth is too big. The shape of it, they're having problems with the actual the mold, the structural integrity of the shape of it, you know? I lost my audio here, so I'm going to do a little voiceover. So, in conclusion, it was, I rushed through this because I only had a couple hours to do this, right? And a lot of it was freehand. Here's what I learned while doing the project. Right there, the Flux Mini, I did that thicker line. That was with gray wash. So, you know, I used that shorter stroke machine just to kind of illustrate how difficult it is to use a short stroke for fine line. Here, this is after I had just taken the second skin off. So ultimately, the Kurosumi was the hardest to put in. And the liner coil, I actually was a little thicker line than the shader coil. I got the thinnest lines with the Hawk Thunder. And the Blackout was the easiest to work with. That one had no glycerin in it. And the Hawk Thunder with the Vertex cartridge is my normal rig. So that was like what I got the thinnest, cleanest lines with. The coils saturated better, which we expected. Those new metal cartridges from Enso, had no luck with. They did not. I had a hard time with them. I'm not saying other people don't, but for this project, they did not work out very good at all. Yeah, here's like the individual inks that we can compare to each other as they heal. Again, the world famous Blackout went in the easiest. That one was the no glycerin. The Pitch Black went in the hardest.